In July 1902, a celebrated Ethiopian military leader visited France, Ras Mekonnen. He was a general who had won a famous victory against the Italians at the Battle of Adwa 6 years earlier. He arrived in Paris to considerable fanfare. The French press covered the visit enthusiastically, and some of those journalists, in their excitement, got the title role. They called him the negus, the title of the sovereign of Ethiopia, held at that time by Menelik II, who was Mekonnen's cousin and never came to France at all. A confectionery in Nevers called Maison Grelier read the papers, saw the story, made a sweet in honour of the visit, and named it after the title the press had incorrectly applied to the man. This is Fabulously Delicious, the French Food Podcast. Welcome back to the Food Tour de France. I'm your host, Andrew Pryor. Today, the tour finishes in Nevers, and the capital of the Nièvre department, a handsome city on the Loire where the river bends east toward Burgundy. And today we are talking about the Négus de Nevers. Let's start with what a negus actually is, because it is one of those confections that is easier to understand once you've eaten one than to explain it in advance. The Négus de Nevers is a soft, chocolate-scented caramel enclosed inside a shell of hard caramel. Two textures, two flavours, the yielding chocolately perfumed centre giving way to the firm sweet outer casing as you bite through it. It is presented in a round iron tin with stylish golden writing on a green background, a packaging that has remained essentially unchanged since the earlier 20th century and that has aimed its own particular charm in an era of aggressively branded confectionery. The negus has a coffee-scented alter ego called the Apsin, named for Abyssinia, the historical name for Ethiopia, making the whole naming structure of the Maison or negus range a gentle, century-old nod to the East African connection that inspired the original creation. The negus and the Apsin, chocolate and coffee, soft caramel inside hard caramel, that is the whole range. The story of how the negus came to be made in Nevers is slightly more complicated and considerably more interesting than the version most often told. The received history, the one the confection itself has promoted, is that Ras Mekonnen visited Nevers during the trip to France in 1902. The negus was created to mark that visit to the city. The documentary sources suggest that Mekonnen visited Paris and that the Maison Grelier confectionery in Nevers, like confectioners across France, followed the press coverage of the visit closely. Maison Grelier had a tradition of creating a new sweet each year named after a significant event of notable figure, an entirely French confectionery custom that turned current affairs into caramel. And in 1902, the event was the Ethiopian general's visit to France. Maison Grelier's became so popular that the shop changed its name entirely to trade under the new sweet's reputation. It became Au Negus, and that name is still carries today. The business passed through 4 generations of the Hiriar family. Henry Hiriar, a confectionery worker, bought the shop in 1909. His son Charles ran it after him. His granddaughter Denise continued the tradition. Her son, Alain, was the 4th generation to carry the name forward. And in November 2013, the confectionery was sold to the Menard Chocolate Company, ending that family ownership, but continuing the production of a sweet that has been made in Nevers for over 120 years. The negus sits in a proud French tradition of regional confections that are almost impossible to find outside their home city, and completely synonymous with it inside. The bouchon bordelaise in Bordeaux is another version of these sweets. The Vichy pastilles, which we talked about in the last episode, and the Baptiste de Cambrai, the Calisson d'Aix. France has dozens of these sweets that are specific to a place that carry the identity of that place wherever they travel, and that make the best possible souvenir precisely because they can't really be reproduced anywhere else. Maison Grelier's annual tradition, creating a new sweet named after a significant event or person each year, is a very specific and very French act of cultural engagement. The confectioner as a chronicler, The sweet is commentary. Every year something happened in the world and the confectioner of Nevers responded by making it edible. Today the tour finishes in Nevers, and if you are watching the stage arrive, exploring the old town with its ducal palace and its pottery workshops, walking along the Loire in the late afternoon, find a tin of negus, the round iron box with the golden writing on the green. Open it. Notice the two-textured construction, a hard shell and its soft center. Taste the chocolate in the caramel. And remember that you are eating something born from a newspaper era. That's the Négus de Nevers. In the next food tour de France, another stage, another story. Bon appétit et à très bientôt.